win the game. And currently, when I'm looking at this, I don't really feel like Team Spirit are necessarily much ahead in the draft. So
if at all,
really need to make sure that this last pick that you come up with covers all bases. Like a hero, for example, like Huskar is a potential big threat right now. Because Tiny doesn't want to lane against him, Morphling absolutely does not want to lane against him, Omni Knight also doesn't want to lane against him. So either one of those heroes will have to go on support and you pick something else, or get rid of it so you don't fall in that trap. And thinking back 2 months, you wouldn't be expecting a Huskar. Now, Huskar with Mag? But Mag is just so different. Like, you don't even need a hero in your team that uses Empower. Just use it on yourself.
What about Phantom Lancer? Like, they don't have a good answer for him.
For Geek Fam?
For Geek Fam, yeah.
Mag PL sounds pretty slow. But if Team Spirit don't pick the right hero now, I think you can pull it off.
Well, and we talked yesterday about how powerful PL can be.
Sure, when he gets there. The reason we haven't seen that many powerful PLs in general is that a lot of the time the games just kind of get out of control.
Right, that's what, you don't get the time, and you have to, if you cut it off early, but then if you're not having that good communication, you're not able to get things going, then it's there.
Winter Wyvern.
Wyvern?
Winter Wyvern. Okay, so I think Wyvern is a really good hero against Magnus overall. When Magnus wants to set up an RP, you can... It's sometimes telegraphed that he's moving in the direction. You can pre-curse. If he does get an RP on a core, you have double save now. You have the Heavenly Grace and Cold Embrace. And the magic damage on Geek Fam, it's there, but it's not extreme unless you get like a perfect 1-2 spell steal for Rubik or whatever. I honestly still kind of really like Huskar here. I don't know.
Yeah. But if they pick Huskar, do you think Team Spirit will just have Wyvern as their core? Could be used as a mid laner as well?
I think he gets destroyed. I don't think Wyvern stands a chance in that lane. Yeah, I don't see what you would do. You have Arctic Burn, which is a 50-second cooldown. And maybe you can get a range creep here and there with Splinter Blast, but what Huskar should do in that lane is he just goes on your hill and hits you with Burning Spears. He doesn't draw creep aggro, and you can't fight back.
Phantom Lancer.
So you got your PL.
Well, at least we got something.
Yeah, right.
No, it's a good PL game to start with. A lot of these heroes, especially Morph and Omni Knight, really low mana pool, and once he gets that Diffusal Blade up, it's going to become really hard for them to actually take a fight, and there's no real AoE against him. Again, both of these teams don't have any kind of burst damage besides Avatos. Wyvern has Curse, but if you can survive during the Curse, I think we're going to have really prolonged team fights.
I was going to ask, like, who is able to initiate better here?
In the start, probably Spirit, because of the Tiny, possibly, at least. And the Winter's Curse has really long reach, but most of the time not really used as a catch. So I don't really think either team is really good.
Right,
It's kind of, this is not going to be your 20-minute game.
It doesn't appear that there's a...
So that's a classic Rob right there. It will be a longer game. I think...
Doesn't that favor Geek Fam?
I would say the PL has the best game out of any hero if this goes late. But that doesn't... By no means does it mean that it's like the perfect free PL game where, okay, minute 35, you see like absolutely no solution.
Yeah.
It's manageable, but it will get really hard eventually.
And I talked about Rubik stealing something. There's a lot of good spells to steal in this game. So I don't think anyone's going to die for the first 30 seconds once they initiate into a team fight, because they're going to be Aphotic Shields, Winter's Curses thrown, and really, really hard. So they need to be able to sustain. I would say draft-wise, I hate to say stuff like this, but it's 50-50 for me. Like,
it's very close.
But if it's 50-50,
I'll lean towards Geek Fam because of the PL.
They would be losing in that case, right? Because they were, they should be ahead with first pick, things like that. I definitely like what I see from Geek Fam. I think that when you talked about this, it doesn't look and appear to be a game that'll be over at 12 minutes or 13 or 15. And because of that, we can get PL online. We can do a lot of things that don't require us to take as many chances. And we've seen so many teams that get caught up in, hey, if we get this 20%er, it'll give us a 30%er later on or something like that, and then it doesn't work, and now they're dead. Right. I think this gives it the ability to slow the game down, be more conservative when your team's life is on the line. So, I mean, for me, I definitely would say Geek Fam.
I would agree with that. I also think like when it comes to these slower games, the things you look for is if if there is a team that will bring the fight to the other team, can the
Right.
secondary team defend, right? Can you just hold without losing your buildings? This team doesn't push very fast that we're looking at right now. Until later in the game, they don't take towers very easily. The other team has tons of wave clear, like Lacoste talked about in this patch. Clear the creep wave so you can secure yourself the farm in the jungle. And they have both teams with great wave clear. The supporting duo here, Maiden and Rubik both push waves. Magnus pushes waves. Abaddon is not great, but he's okay. So I think they can buy the time for PL just as much as Spirit can buy their time. And then it comes down to who plays a better late game.
All right. Well, then tell me who. No 50-50s.
Right.
I'll go Geek Fam.
Yeah.
Geek Fam.
Geek Fam, because the game is going to be a bit longer with the PL being the ultimate raid boss here.
If we all say Geek Fam, then tell me before we get into the game what we need to see from Team Spirit. 10 seconds.
Just
That's your 10 seconds.
No, so get a really good fight before PL has 2 items. Like
Okay.
you need to get objectives and limit his map around the 15-minute mark. 15
All right.
to 20.
Let's see what happens. Let's send it over to our casters. Bye.
Eh?
Hello.
Hello, Toby.
Hello. We're here. We're ready to go. For our third series of the day, hopefully it's going to be a more even one because our analysts did seem, what did they say, 50-50? Leaning Geek Fam's way. That's
It's
not
the
really a
first
true
time.
50-50, but
It's the first matchup and first draft in a while in this tournament where you're not actually 100% sure who's going to win. Because so far today, it's just been stomp after stomp.
yeah, it definitely seems like it.
If I have a 100% prediction rate, like, come on.
Do you have a 100% prediction
I'm
rate?
7-0 so far.
Wow.
Tell me about it.
Kyle. Something's in the air.
Right?
We should have more of these DPC events
It's because we're at altitude, I think.
at high altitude.
Yeah,
That's what
high
I'm saying.
altitude. That's the secret, I think.
That's your performance level.
Correct.
Everybody else their brains are lagging, but you,
I
you're
get up-
used to the thin air.
Exactly. And,
Glitch
you
out
got to
of
take a
game.
bit of a deeper inhale, of course, but once you do, you get
Well, careful
settled
with
in.
that. You don't want to swallow too much air. We learned that from Owen yesterday.
I wish I
Don't want to
witnessed.
be one of those air swallowers. That's,
Is it like a new term for mouth breathing
I
or
guess
what?
so. You know, Owen,
This would
it's a special boy.
Hey, look, it's
Special
Slacks.
ideas.
I didn't know he was
He
in here.
prefers a pug, but a undead bulldog. I could definitely see Slacks as a person being that.
nailed it.
Who's the...
And there's you, the Drodo.
Those are extinct.
No, that's dodos.
Ah.
But yes.
So it's a real
Probably similar.
artifact. What?
Yes.
It's a term for a forgotten and lost relic.
Forgotten and lost items. Yeah.
At once, it saw use. Now, in the
That was a
present day.
long time ago.
long time ago.
Sadly, it is past its time. Well,
Perhaps if they designed it a little better, it would have been able to maintain its usefulness as time passed. But alas,
stand the test of time a little bit better.
Eh.
Yeah. Sadly, its time was very short. and
what are we
diminished.
waiting for? Dubu talking for the community? Twitch chat probably asked for the same question.
Oh, needed to go to the bathroom. That's a classic.
no.
Love it.
Not the bathroom, the
The
water,
water
closet.
Indeed.
Correct.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it when we have a pause after the draft so someone can go to the water closet.
I like how there's a lot of obscure things you only understand because of the internet. Like the first time I saw it, I was scrimming a Russian stack. I think it was back when we played Power Rangers all the time. They're like, hey, what's the delay? And just WC. And you don't know what the hell's going on. And then eventually you figure it out. Same with the... we were discussing, one of the guys here didn't know that the one single parenthesis was a smiley face
Yes.
in CIS.
Yes.
And then if it's the other
Russian
parenthesis,
smiley.
it's a sad face.
Yeah. The Kyle, when you were a captain, would you let your players get away with this?
Hell no.
You draft.
I'm a mom
Oh,
before we
sorry,
head
guys,
out
we
on a
gotta
road
pause.
trip. You gotta
Yeah.
pee, you do it before we get in the car, all right? I am not stopping.
Otherwise, you better have an empty bottle with
I
you.
would actually get frustrated because it's a huge break in concentration. Now it's like useless to even discuss anything with anyone because you have one guy who's not a part of it.
That has
It's,
been that is what all the pro players say when it comes to suggestions about how to make the draft a little bit better. Can we pause a little bit? Can we do some fancy stuff after the draft is done? And players always say, no, you can't do that because sometimes you have this last pick and time is of the element. We have this opportunity
Time is
to
of
be
the
able
element?
to yes. Kyle, I just run with a lot of the BS that you say. Come on, just work with me.
Sorry, I get it. I guess
I was going to say element of surprise, and I was like, wait, that's not quite the phrase. Anyway.
surprise is an element, though. A key element to a successful Dota 2 strategy, that's for sure.
But fortunately, our lanes are very simple, right? We've got mid Magnus. I don't know what it's matched up against, but I remember we have hard carries on both side lanes, and everything should be pretty normal. I don't think anybody's going to be switching things up. Kyle, you had a lot of experience with at least one of these players, and Captain Dubu.
Correct. Played against him quite a bit.
What's he like?
He's a bit wild. He
Yes.
typically feeds first blood. I think I used this analogy already, but he's like actually, no, it's the Game of Thrones. There's a character, Strong Belwas, all right? But when he fights someone in the pit, he lets them cut him first, you know?
Okay.
And then he kills them. That's Dubu. He just likes to feel, you know,
Just a little bit of cut.
Yeah.
Feel alive. Mm-hmm. I see. Any experience with anybody here on Team
Played
Spirit?
against Misha a bit. He's been like tier 2 captain in the CIS scene for some time. Immersion, of course, the ex-Gambit player, another highly recruited individual, one of the better Earth Spirits in the world. ILTW, of course, with that run on OG. Ergon, one of the newer upstart mid players. I think that he's again like, what's his name? The guy from Gambit, GPK, was like the big steal. Like everybody wanted him.
Mm-hmm.
And Nangrata, I think, has one of the best names in esports, which is Nangrata.
You're a fan of big fancy words, I know.
It's Latin for not welcome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As in, your weak shit isn't welcome in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And
You think
that's
so?
typically what he does
Or
to
maybe
enemy safe
because he
laners.
bounces from team to team, he doesn't feel welcome.
That could be it as well.
Maybe
it's
he's-
sort of like a name I should have kept back when I played World of Warcraft. I was a rogue. I was a Night Elf rogue. That's what everybody was.
Okay.
And my tag was replaceable.
Mm.
And based on my performance in Dota,
You created your own destiny, Kyle.
exactly.
Well, maybe you weren't replaceable.
That's why I don't
It
believe
seemed
in
like you were
fate.
irreplaceable for complexity.
Well, they didn't even try. There's no team anymore.
Yeah.
They have
At the end of
hosted.
the day.
I was told that NIP, however, did boot camp at the Complexity facility to qualify for this minor.
Geez, so complexity is just cursed all the way around. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I haven't been back since they kicked me off the team. I ain't lifting that anytime soon.
Kyle, in his dying breath as a competitive player, cursed complexity in its entire line.
Yep.
Now you must salt the earth. All right, we're finally going to get this game underway. That's right, Tiny Mid versus Magnus. I don't know about you, but I really prefer the Mag as one position right now. Maybe we even talked about that. I'm not sure if it was you and me or Lizard, but I don't know. I feel like two Magnus, it's okay, but I prefer one.
I think you have to play it. I think this might be a dead Raven. Did he save a point? Does he have Doppel?
He
Yeah, of
should,
course.
and yes, he did. Does still mean Doppelganger level 1, which is an advantage.
You've got to play Mag. I'm trying to think of a good example. He needs to be a physical damage threat, and the RP is a tool for utility of sorts. You don't want to play around the RP, even if as the 2 position. You just play as a core.
Yeah.
And that is how this hero works best. I think, was one of the first to popularize it before even this patch, back before he even joined Liquid. And that was always his hallmark. You get the Echo Saber, you get a bunch of auras, you start beating into people.
Yeah, he was one of those guys who like, okay, this is a regular Magnus, but then he starts doing well, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, hey, he's actually right-clicking for a lot of damage.
It's similar, if you think about Mag, think of it as any really farmed carry hero with a BKB. You don't want to be forced, you don't want to be in a scenario where you're only fighting under the BKB. You want to kind of use it as a tool. It's a lot like Slark. You don't want to be forced to ulti right away. You want to be able to save it to increase damage output in an ideal scenario at least. And see Immersion TPing down to the bottom lane. It's going to be just a Wyvern here. It looks like a bit of a lane swap as Omni Knight moves towards bottom. They wanted to ensure that they could dodge the enemy tri-lane with the Morphling.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not sure if that actually gets them the advantage when it comes to the side lanes. Like maybe it protects the Morphling a little bit more.
You can see the wards. They place both up in the top area of the map.
Oh yeah.
You do not want Morph against PL no matter what, and you certainly don't want it against an enemy tri-lane.
Is it really bad in the laning phase?
Yes, because PL can just get on top of you, and
Just
Morph's
Phantom
range
Rush
is
you
very
over and over
low.
again? Okay.
In addition, you have like equal base damage. In fact, PL has more, and you just hit way too hard. There's a CM in the lane.
Right.
It's near impossible. And Lich, Wyvern are both terrible in terms of support in the laning phase. So
Meanwhile, Omni Knight has a lot more opportunities to pressure PL because you can trade hits and still have purification to be able to do lots of damage.
Exactly. PL's weakness is lack of wave clear. You abuse that when you have a Wyvern Omni against him.
Well, thanks to all that aggressive vision, Misha has already picked off one courier that was headed up to the top lane, our Rubik abandoned lane. Meanwhile, how's our mid matchup going? 10-1 already for Carl's Magnus.
And another reason I feel like the mag pick's just so strong nowadays is the way you itemize. Like every single item in your kit is just such a huge power spike. The Echo Saber into the AC, the BKB, the Abyssal. Like you don't even need a blink. You can get the Ags if you really want a bunch of skewers, but I'm not a huge fan. But it's just also a strength hero. Like 1,000 health level 3 mag with a bracer, right? By the time he has treads and another one, he'll be, at level 10, he'll be near 2,000 HP. It's part of the reason these games are ending so quickly because there's just really no weakness to these strength heroes once they get online and a bit ahead.
Skewer used to be able to pick up the Invis rune, and Aragon's not too sad about that. And Invis isn't going to change the laning phase whatsoever. See our Phantom Lancer is doing a good job free farming despite the early level up of Doppelganger. Non-Grottic getting some damage onto Dubu here, forcing him back a little bit. As soon as they get their level 3s on both the Winter Wyvern and the Omni Knight, that is going to become quite the dangerous lane. Dubu forced to use an early healing salve. Non-Grata is going to be forced back as he doesn't have Purification up, and Raven is going to be able to get that last hit for a First Blood. Crystal Maiden still dying, but still, it's the First Blood. That's the coveted pickup.
You will
Raven.
take that trade. However, I will say Immersion's levels are more important than the Omni at the moment. As soon as you get level 3, level 5, it's huge spikes in your ability to harass.
Our Tiny getting dangerously low. He does have his combination. He's going to toss Carl away, though. And will be able to get some bottle charges as he heads back. Looks like he got skewered back underneath tower.
Tiny's another hero who, much like Mag, could choose to go for more of that farming carry build. I've been a fan of every Tiny I've seen go 1-1-4. Surprised that he's going to actually go for the combo build, because I think the 1 point, once you put 1 point in, I'd rather you just max it right away, because you're not going to have that full combo damage right away. And it would allow him to actually just start dominating this Mag in lane. He's actually falling behind instead. He'll need a rune if he wants to stay here. Acquire a dominating position. Top, as you can see, Morph just hard free farming.
I can kind of see his idea, because at this point, if he does go for the 4-4-1 build, he's going to be the only playmaking core in this entire game. Like, everybody is very passive in that regard. You've got a mid Magnus with a safe lane PL and an off lane Abaddon. You know, we have the 2 sustained off laners. They're not making plays.
It's a good point, actually. None of these cores really want to get involved early, with the exception of the Tiny. The difference is that Geek Fam supports are both aggressive, and Team Spirits are both counter rotators and TPers. So look for Geek Fam, once we hit nighttime, to just start rotating around. Specifically Dubu. I'd love to see him look towards middle. I think you could find some kills if Tiny's low. TP ganks up top could be effective as well.
Yeah, they're the kind of supports that when they rotate into a Phantom Lancer's lane or a Abaddon's lane, you can actually get kills pretty easily.
Yeah, so far so good. Just farm wars. Aragon looks like he got a toss back into tower. Will it be a kill?
Oh, he's going to skewer him in. Carl really braving this one, thinking he could take one more hit in, and he will be able to finish him off. What an outplay by Carl.
What a beast.
That is a sick play by him. He read it perfectly. He's like, I can tank one more hit. If I skewer him back into the tower, I will be able to outdo him.
I don't know if I believe that there was any math done there, Cap. I think that was a pull and pray.
I mean, he had to at least have the feel he could survive through one hit from the Tiny, right?
Yeah, true. I think that the idea he could kill him before the second hit landed was that was the stretch. But hey, it pays off.
Jesus. Geek Fam just got all 4 bounties. What happened? Team Spirit. Bounties are important, dogs.
Well, they just lost 2 heroes.
Yeah.
3-on-5 around the map was tough to recover. There's the Dubu rotation right at nighttime as expected.
And those 2 supports, they're just going to be moving around the map. And all that very aggressive vision that Team Spirit set up at the start, maybe it got them a read on the laning phase, but sadly, it's not going to be able to see rotations like that.
I'm fine with 1 ward to scout out lanes. I think when you invest 2, it's a bit much. However, if you look at the top net worth, right, or last hits rather, it accomplished the goal. So it's you can't fault them for that. They wanted Morph to have a great start. They've given him the best in the game. And of course, it is the win condition.
Big difference between him being top of the board and our Phantom Lancer, who's only sitting at 423 and 6. Very far down. Indeed, that Winter Wyvern on the Night lane has proven to be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, they've swapped him up towards top. They're going to move the Abaddon towards bottom. Also love how it feels like the meta just consistently goes in circles. The only thing that's always a staple is the Wisp and the Chen. But if you remember, I think it was like TI7, TI8. We had this Abaddon Omni meta, Necrophos, heavy sustain. Shout out to Liquid who rode that meta straight to a TI win. Now
Dubu turning around, and Zephyr is going to be joining Amisha. Looks to be able to slow down Dubu long enough that ILTW can clean up the kill with a waveform. You're going to be close enough, not enough to get the damage in. And the Adaptive Strike certainly won't be enough by itself. But if Misha can get one more nuke somehow, geez, this is a long chase for a kill that may not happen at all.
Yeah, that's shout out to Ice Frog for that one, because Crystal Maiden used to be one of the slowest heroes in Dota 2.
Yeah.
Has a significant speed boost after the patch. Otherwise, certainly dies there. They even invest a ward in the failed attempt.
Attempted to pull by Kuku, but he pulls it by the hard camp. Something that is easily disrupted by the support.
Yeah, so the thing is, this is a terrible matchup for the Morph without the edge. But once you get your treads online, a couple of Wraith bands, all of a sudden it's a very different story because you're up to 110 base damage, same as this Tiny, but with significantly more attack speed. Mid lane, it's like Carl still bodying Ergon a bit. 1,000 net worth ahead, mostly thanks to that turnaround kill.
And Empowered, such an amazing ability to win lanes. On top of that outplay and being able to pull him into the mid towers, left a sliver of hope here for Geek Fam in their laning phase. Still have to be worried about ILTW, of course.
Oh, Mango Tree. Arguably the best item to drop.
Yeah, you're never unhappy with the vision you get from Mango Tree on top of just the free regeneration, especially a hero like Omni Knight.
I was just memeing. I don't know if it's actually good. Is it really good?
I mean, I thought so.
Can you cut a Mango Tree down? Is it blessed by the elves?
No. You can cut it down.
Okay. But why would you?
It's just most of the time you just have it on very defensive areas, so in certain high grounds.
Invisibility.
It used to be better, of course, because you used to be able to place it inside the Roshan pit on that lava area, but that has been since fixed from our last patch. Carl, you want him to go for the early Blink Dagger, or you want him to continue with this damage build of Echo Saber?
You just keep farming it.
Yeah, I think so too.
You get the Echo first. It's similar to a Sven. If you think of Mag, actually Mag is pretty much the new Sven.
Yeah, it really is.
You don't need an ultimate to deal tons of damage. You want to get that farming plus regen item first. You don't want to go Blink Rush, because then you're reliant on getting kills or you start to fall off quickly.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any need for them to be trying to rush things too much as Immersion. He's going to be pulled back to his doom here as a skewer into the tier 1 tower. Saved a little bit by the Cold Embrace. The 2-man rotation from behind the tower is kind of coming, but it's just an awkward position to be in all around.
They'll likely get Dubu, but is that really what you wanted?
And it's certainly not what they wanted. Just the 5 position, the sacrificial Dubu, who's always going to die anyway. I'm sure he's not too upset about that down.
They saved him time, actually. He was going to have to do the long walk of shame back to base. Instead, just a nice respawn it to TP out. He's already alive again.
Bezu's this Omni Knight. He's real big. Raven, a little bit of courage here, given the Alphonic Shield's going to turn around and quickly eliminate Misha, who got held up by a Prowler.
Lots of space for LTW, though.
Yeah, chipping away at that tower. That early, when it comes to the side lanes, I always feel really good about a team that is able to win their lane hard enough that they're able to chip away at the tower and eventually take it.
Yep.
Because then you're just ahead of the tempo of the enemy team, right? Then you could defensively play around your own safe lane tower, control outposts better.
Morph is one of the best heroes for that, because if you get ahead,
they're going to get both outposts on Team Spirit.
Not bad. That's actually way more important than the runes. The XP is so valuable. 300 per player now. 1.5k swing.
Over time, experiences become so massive.
Yeah.
Introduction of talents. I feel like there's been a general power creep in how the stats are working.
A lot of the changes, if you look at Dota from TI3 to now, a big difference is that slots are far less valuable because now you have so many, a TP slot, ward stack, etc.
Yep.
And levels have become just paramount to success because of the talents.
Yeah.
It's effectively bonus items every time you hit 10, 15.
See, Nongrata being able to win that laning phase against the Phantom Lantern and be so far ahead easily. Bullies the Abaddon, which is a matchup you're probably going to win anyway as an Omni Knight. Purification just being a much better version of Photic Shield.
Yeah. This is one of the first games we're actually going to see some intense team fights because both teams have answers, specifically combo breakers.
Yeah.
You've got the Wyvern ulti specifically to deal with RP. Both Morph and PL have escape mechanics.
Did you see that? Raven actually pulled his illusions towards Urgon, helping to protect Dubu from the toss.
Not bad. That would have certainly been a kill if he was able to toss him back on top of the Omni Knight. And yeah, this is the power. This is the power of Morph. You already have a couple aggressive wards placed, so you're safely able to just farm up here with that Mask of Death. And it's a lot like Weaver in past metas, PL to an extent. You get ahead. Morph is the best at this, and you cannot be laned against. Plus, you can't die. You've got escapes. Aragon though,
Chasing down Urgon, who's just been playing so aggressively. Why is he alone in the enemy triangle like that?
yeah. Especially with no runes spawning anytime soon.
Yeah, that's pretty questionable. GeekFam had a very nice defensive ward up on that high ground to defend their triangle.
Yep.
And GeekFam might be able to use that to be able to attack the mid lane.
I want to bring up this Diffusal build on the Morph. You don't see this very often, but I really like it because you're up against two supports you can solo kill very easily early on once you pick that up. You go straight for the Rubik, straight for the CM, they're going to go down. Ulti to set up.
Okay, but they don't have the gaze from the Lich, so
Yeah.
there's nothing to stop the skewer back. But he skewered him into
Jesus.
Dubu. Oh no! Carl, he wanted to get out of there, so of course he's going to skewer backwards, but poor old Dubu just got ran over. It was a hit and run.
And I would say, hey, let's just push. We're already here.
Yeah, might as well try and even out, because that mid tower, it's probably going to be dropping soon, so Team Spirit want to stay one step ahead in that regard.
And this is the key. You 4-1 it. You've got a Morph who's free farming in the enemy top lane. There's no reason to do anything crazy.
Yep.
You have the super carry. At a point, PL does come ahead of the Morph, but that requires really, I think, the level 25 talent. You do have a mag for the Empower buff, but that also does make it easier for Spirit to figure out which one is real. Be curious to see if Raven goes for the Diffusal Rush or for the farming style Manta first. Expect the Rush Diffusal because, much like the Morph, he has an option of being able to solo kill some of these enemy supports quite easily once he gets the Purge active.
Dude, everybody hates this mana burn on this team. You've got two strength cores in the Tiny and Omni Knight, both susceptible to mana burn, and Morphling has long hated it. Even if with some of the morph changes, it still limits his mobility at bare minimum.
Yeah. And this is the thing about the PL last pick. It does match up against the Morph, but they really don't have anything to kill him for a while.
Cuckoo, not an easy target to bring down, certainly. Didn't have his ultimate, but still tanky enough to survive through all of that one. Zephyr, well, then telekinesis doesn't last for long. But it is just enough, especially with Carl coming in. Big old Carl. That Magnus is not something to mess with. And he's just going to, oh, just look at him. He's just going straight for the back door on that tier 1 tower. He really wants to take this away from Team Spirit, but maybe he just brought his supports to their doom once again. Zephyr turning around, trying to do as much damage as possible to hopefully allow Carl to come in and clean up, but sadly that's not the case, especially with Nongrata here. Slowing down Carl. Carl, no skewer. May have to RP if he wants to be able to save his own life here. As bit by bit, the Euphonic Shield protecting him a little bit, turns around for the RP, but Team Spirit are kiting him very nicely. Winter's Curse to make sure he doesn't go too far away, but another round of heals. Nongrata with a big nuke. RP going out. A nuke from the Lich isn't quite there, and Carl will limp away to safety, but old Cuckoo, he's not going to be able to do the same.
I feel like the Raven PL might want to get involved a bit here. They're just consistently diving his mid-tower. He's just farming, but Morph is going to be out farming him and in a far more valuable position as he's consistently shoving lanes, not jungle camps. And they're going to lose mid-tier 1, arguably the most important tower in Dota 2 right now. Runes up in 15. Got to regroup with your Spirit.
Yeah, this goes back to our laning phase again, right? If the Phantom Hunter had a better laning phase, maybe he'd had the Diffusal, and we would certainly see Raven trying to take those fights if he did have that big power spike, but...
And this is, I love it. Smoke immediately. You know that GeekFam's going to be out on the map. They're probably bottom because you don't see them on your top runes. And now you sweep straight across the map with the new Diffusal on the Morphling. This is a nice power spike. Means he'll be able to pick off a support no problem, while the rest of his team looks to deal with the cores.
And it's just as the Diffusal Blade is online for ILTW. They're feeling very strong. They're going to try and invade the triangle, which is going to be the right play here, while Misha does get some aggressive vision. They're going to run into the Magnus. A hard hero to bring down, but maybe they can do it with so many slows, and it certainly looks like it. Carl's just going to be left out here as the rest of GeekFam quickly retreat.
Yeah, they're going to lose the one ward they just placed on that hard camp, but this is one of my favorite plays. Well done by Misha there, prepping the smoke along with the wards, because you're not going to expect that he would have placed these two on the top side.
ILTW, careful! He was a
He's
little
dead.
bit low, and yeah, he's just dead. He has no mana to be able to work with.
The defusal surprise. One core dies for both teams thanks to it.
That's so smart from Geek Fam, right? They see their triangles invade, they lose a hero, but they know naturally Team Spirit's going to split up, right? The carry's going to be greedy, he heads down to bottom lane, and they set a trap on the high ground.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
We look to see Spirit try and maintain aggression here. They're on the enemy side of the map with their warding. You want to play around them. You don't want to allow Geek Fam to drag this out to 30 minutes or so when the PL becomes a problem.
Immediately just back up to full health, and Urgon, you gotta be careful, man. He's just always going in like this. They're gonna throw out the Chain Frost, hope they does something here. They do manage to skewer backwards a little bit farther. Urgon's still gonna die underneath his tier 2, even as the Chain Frost continues to bounce around. I don't know, man. Urgon, I think he's like 0-4-0 or something like this now.
Yep, it's not looking good for him. And this is not the kind of game where assassin-style Tiny feels good. You're against 3 cores that all get incredibly durable. Plus, I'll be honest, it's neutral item patch.
Yeah.
Even the supports are not going to be easy to take down once they start picking up the leave-me's as the cores itemize past the need for them. Everyone suddenly has 2,000 health. Yeah, you might have a Blink Dagger combo, but it's just not going to do a damn thing. And nice, an Aquila for Raven. That's one of the better items for a tier 2 PL to pick up.
Cuckoo racing in. Nice gaze to stall out this silence, but he's still going to die. But maybe that slow is going to be enough for these 2 cores to punish Cuckoo. He does have Dubu somewhere nearby, and they just blew all their stuns. Okay, they still have the Winner's Curse. Not really what they wanted to be using for a simple pickoff like this, but get what you can. Nagrata going to make sure he stays on top of him with the slow, and eventually they will get that kill.
Radiant structures are
Look at this. You see what I mean? Look, Rubik has 2,000 health.
Yes.
He's level 10.
And another shawl, so
What?
high magic resistance as well.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's saying like, okay, as long as I survive through the combo of this Tiny, who didn't go the build you were suggesting. I mean, we can go back to that, right? Because you suggested like, hey, I just want to see you max out your branch and just play for more of a core style. And because Urgon's rotations failed.
It's a bit of a non sequitur, Cap, but I still don't really understand the point of neutral items. I get talents, they make sense, but hey guys, let's just give everyone more items. That seems to be the case, except you don't get to pick them. The Fate does.
Well, you're a support player. Aren't you a little bit happier playing support right now?
It makes the game easier for me, yeah, that helps. Especially if you're playing with BSJ like I'll have to in that show match. However, Dota's not supposed to be easy, Cat. That's why we like it. You know the joke about
you
what
like the hard life.
Yeah, you know the joke about what the Dota tutorial?
There is none?
Yeah, you got to play for 1,000 hours. That's the tutorial.
Okay. Yeah.
Then you'll be a beginner. That's what we like, Cap.
Yeah. We are all a bit masochists, all of us Dota players, but I see what you're saying. Back in your day, you had to
we had to
support
work for
uphill
it.
both ways sort of deal.
You had
Nowadays.
6 slots, 3 were full of wards,
The
and if you
Gen
didn't have
Z
dust,
generation just gets everything handed to them.
goddamn Zoomers.
9-12, 1,000 net worth lead for Geek Fam as we see Dubu die once again, but that's the Dubu trick.
Spirit need 2 or 3 fights in a row that they win because they've heavily invested in initiation. You've got Immersion with the Blink, you've got a Tiny with the Blink, and the Morphling with this Diffusal build. You will get outscaled at this rate. Geek Fam already with the top 2 cores on the map. And a BKB next on LTW. You can see the strat. They want to get aggressive now and maintain a lead, but that's going to require numerous 1 fights, and I just don't know if you can do that against Geek Fam. Everyone's just so tanky. 4 heroes with over 2,000 health. It's not 20 minutes yet.
Yeah, I would definitely be sweating if I'm Team Spirit. 2 cores that are going to outscale me, and we're not even up in net worth. We're going to try and take on this Roshan, which will help speed the progression of the game a little bit. Maybe with an Aegis, they'll be able to take more objectives, at least forcing an objective right now as Geek Fam are on their way. A successful scan, and as soon as Carl starts showing up, Team Spirit back away. But kind of feels like they need to take a fight. Otherwise, like, you're not going to keep farming and outscale them, right? So, I don't know.
And you can see the benefit of the Abaddon. Both teams with one of those cores, they can just walk in.
Yep.
However, actually, it's Geek Fam with the edge in that regard because Abaddon and Mag can both just charge. In fact, all 3 cores can create space for their allies in terms of providing vision, isolating heroes, whereas Spirit, you have both Tiny and Wyvern and Morph who want to play more of the outskirts of the fight. If your Omni Knight's the one running in to provide vision, that's also your cleanse. That's one of your save mechanics. You don't necessarily want him to get targeted like an Abaddon does.
Yeah, particularly against the Mana Burn, the Phantom Lancer. Cuckoo's going to be held in place by that clumsy net. And Cuckoo, yes, we want you to run in, my friend.
Not
but
that
maybe
far.
not this far.
Indeed.
Oh, Rubik with the nice steal at least.
Straight into the Roche. He does not have buyback. However, Team Spirit not the most Roche damage, and with Geek Fam posturing around. Oh, the gold outline, he does have buyback. Thanks, Cap.
Be good for now, but Team Spirit just feeling like maybe that's not quite enough of an advantage. They do have BKB now, so these power spikes are building and building and building, but it is a heavy focus on this time, right?
There are no farming items that have been picked up by Spirit. They need this, and you can see like they know we're gonna smoke, we need to find kills, we need more than this, and we need Roche quick.
Radiant's bottom tower
This is going to have to be a blitz of sorts by Team Spirit. They're just going to have to rush Geek Fam, and they're going to have to beat them into submission over the next 5 minutes. Geek Fam seem well prepared as they're going to be able to break that smoke rather easily. Raven looks to be able to burn out the mana of Urgon. He's going to do it really quickly too if he can, but Dubu already dead. Is now the BKB from ILTW is popped, and he runs straight into the back line, turning into a Phantom Lancer himself, but just Dubu dying for a 10-second BKB.
That's the Dubu right there. He feeds, buys back immediately. He's like, guys, I got the BKB. Let's go. We did this. It's one of the best moves a 5 can make, the tactical death. All right, if you need to learn any lessons, watch some Synderen replays. He's one of the experts.
Well, hopefully we'll see more tactical deaths to come in our upcoming show match between the English and Russian talent. 22-22 as a smoke from Geek Fam. Pushing forward, invading, knowing this BKB is on cooldown, allows the Phantom Lancer to hard counter the Morphling in this next fight.
See, it's
Jeez, look at this. He's thinking about Radiance. That's how you know he's like, guys,
that's the right
you're
choice,
not going to
though.
carry this game. I have to do a little bit carrying my own.
I wish he'd gotten it earlier. If you looked at the inventory, he has a ton of like drums, Vlads, Hood.
Hood, yeah.
The problem with the Spirit lineup is when you all itemize for fighting, but you don't have enough of an advantage or a method of actually forcing an engagement. Tiny is your only real catch. You're going to slowly lose your lead unless you can continue to find kills and fights. And Geek Fam have no intention of giving them anything unless they need to defend something like Roche.
Suicidal Cuckoo, but this time it is exactly what Geek Fam needs. Somebody just get vision inside the pit. They get a good read of what the health of Roshan is at. They know that Team Spirit's going to be very slow at it, so they can regroup a little bit, take this fight at their leisure, basically.
See, Cuckoo's going to poke forward.
A little bit low. Dubu, okay, get some vision in there. Once again, now it's go time. Roshan is quite low. Geek Fam, they're going to jump in here. The RP goes out right as Roshan dies. They should be able to pick up the Aegis on the ground. The Winter's Curse, grab it. Can you grab it, please? Get it. The telekinesis. Okay, it's Cuckoo. Does manage to get it up in time. Carl, Geek Fam, they do manage to take over this Roshan pit to their advantage, finishing off the carry, taking away that Aegis. Now finishing off Non-Grana as well. Jump forward by Carl. It's going to be able to get the +1 in immersion, skewering him back very nicely. A beautiful play all around by Geek Fam. Great stuff by Zephyr on that telekinesis on the Omni Knight, preventing the Aegis from being grabbed.
Yep, it's like backing an animal into a corner, Cap. You give him no choice but fight. Spirit, yep, maybe not the brightest decision to go for Roche, but you don't have any other options. It's either fight now or flee to most likely be tracked down later, and Geek Fam now take a considerable advantage. Nice job by Cuckoo there, effectively just walking in. That's the benefit of this lineup. It's something you don't really think about too much, but at the end of the day, Dota is a lot about controlling information. When one team has multiple heroes that can just walk at the enemy, and the other team has none, it's significantly more difficult for said team to make decisions because you just don't know where the enemy's going to come from. They had some vision in the mid lane, but none around the pit, so they just get pincered. Cuckoo runs in, RP out of nowhere, and there really were no answers.
We're talking about the timing, and it seems like Team Spirit have missed it. So, is there a backup plan that Team Spirit can fall on? Can they move into the late game, and can they try and re-itemize themselves for a little bit more of a late game timing? Can this Tiny turn into a semi-core? It's certainly not going to happen anytime soon if he dies here. Carl was looking for someone in the back line. I think he thought maybe a support he could catch instead.
Misha?
He's going to beat down Urgon, and Misha does show up eventually. He was like, Carl's like, that's what I was looking for. I knew somebody was going to be around here, and sure enough, they get the +1 once again. Team Spirit just seemed incapable of just letting losses be.
Yeah. And now you're at a point where I like the ILTW build at first, but now you're in a scenario where maybe you can kill Dubu, who really doesn't care. As we discussed earlier, he likes the punishment. You don't even tickle these cores. Your best bet when you attack a Baden or Mag is that you'll burn their mana. They're not real heroes. Considering Kuku has an Aegis, I wouldn't be surprised to see Geek Fam just look to go high ground pretty soon. And there's Spider Legs, though, for Morph, but What's Orb of Destruction? I haven't seen that one in a while.
That is the minus armor orb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the really busted one on TA and PA. Another very interesting mechanic regarding neutral items.
Yeah, being able to get auras or debuffs that the other team can't get at times.
Well, they could get it if they were luckier.
Yes.
And, you know.
Sometimes you just aren't.
You got to make your own luck, Cap.
Tell that
sort of
Team
like
Spirit we're kind of stuck inside their base and can't farm neutrals right now.
Sort of like how we can make our own items, just, you know, not the new 62 of them.
What kind of item would you make, Kyle? You had your opportunity to step into Ice Frog's shoes and just make one. What would you want to see?
I'd like to see more regarding mischance and accuracy. Okay. I really hate
something
that,
besides MKB.
Yeah, I hate that it's still, you know, for a decade now, just been this MKB versus Butterfly relationship. I'd really like to see a cheaper item that provided accuracy.
Like Bloodborne?
That's a little expensive, Cap.
True. Well, this is just going to be Team Spirit. I mean, they are trying to fight it out with the BKB Morphlink, but you can see pretty obviously they're turning on to Kuku and such. Kuku wants the punishment right now because he knows as soon as you turn and fight Raven, he's going to start running at some heroes. With a buyback coming out from the Lich, they're a little bit timid about just running at them straight up. They don't want to throw their lead, but...
It's like I'm watching the NFL playoffs, Cap. You've got 3 offensive linemen moving forwards as the 2 supports just kind of chill in the back waiting for an opportunity. There's really nothing you can do as Spirit. As we discussed, where's the initiation? It's Tiny. If you see Tiny, no one else has to be afraid. And as long as you keep the fight in front of you, if Geek Fam are positioned properly, don't get pincered, there's really no way for Spirit to take a proper engagement. And as you look at the net worth, you've got PL and Magnus who have itemized for farming and can continue to do so. Fights are a maybe, a luxury. You don't need them. You're going to kill more of the map, and if Spirit want to come out of their base, well, now I guess we'll kill you too.
Kuku. He'll take the high ground, just a little bit of chip damage on the tier 3. It's one of the dangerous parts about the Abaddon compared to the Omni Knight, right? A lot more pushing power being allowed with that Mist, that Curse of Avernus, allowing the whole team to rip apart a tier 3 pretty quickly. Team Spirit, they lose another fight like that, they're probably going to be down at least a tier 3 in Shrines, or maybe even a full Barracks. And that Radiance is so far away. And the Radiance by itself, when it does come online, is going to be about at the point where Phantom Lancer has his heart plus whatever stat items he has. He's going to be super tanky. And that damage burn over time isn't really going to mean much to him.
Against a PL with no real illusion counter, you really desperately need a Mjolnir, but you look at the Spirit lineup and I can't think of who would have purchased one. The Radiance also critical, and that's why I think it should have been rushed. Maybe you get 1 or 2 build-up items, but 3 build-up on the Omni is just...
Okay, they found Raven entirely by himself. There is going to be some help from Geek Fam coming in, but they can burst him down fast enough, a little bit more than Jade Frost isn't going to be enough. Carl comes in, does manage to land the RP, but now their damage dealer is gone. Therefore, Team Spirit still have the advantage in this fight. Toss over, nice play by Ergon, making sure he catches Zephyr at least here. Should be able to kill this support. Geek Fam still kind of sticking around as Carl and Kuku quickly realize that this support is not worth it. They're going to run for the hills. And Team Spirit finally find an opening. Not enough to change the overall dynamic of this game, but it's a little something.
They do have now 50 seconds on outposts and 38 on the PL and Rubik, so you should be able to win at least one of those big batches of XP.
Once again, every single time something like this happens, Team Spirit gets some sort of engagement, they quickly break apart, and Geek Fam are really good at punishing that. Fortunately, not able to get the kill here.
Glyph down bottom. Miscue there from Raven. If the team was a bit closer, maybe you're able to turn that around. And that's what Spirit are going to need. That was their last smoke. So now they're going to have to find those opportunities organically. And it's important that ILTW is able to initiate in with the Tiny. You kill somebody right off the bat, either Mag, one of the supports really. You're not going to kill anybody else unless they're completely isolated.
Ergon going for an Aghanim Scepter. I understand you didn't go any right-click items. The Aghanim Scepter is not going to do you a whole lot of good if you don't actually have some damage to back it up.
Yeah, but it'll kill the illusions at least. It's more forms of AoE.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't mind it. There's really not much else you could buy here.
Pull
Immersion.
back, BKB, ILTW just turns and fights. He's going to go straight for Dubu, who's going to be saved by the Glimmer Cape. Meanwhile, Carl's going to be pulled back in by that Sinister Gaze. Misha being attacked by Cuckoo is quickly ripped apart by the physical damage, and now Raven looks to be able to chase down these strength cores. Nice Winter's Curse turning things around. Might have actually allowed Ergon to get away. Blinks out, should be good. A nice reset from Team Spirit in a fight that was going to go against them, because this time around, they didn't find an opening kill on a Phantom Lancer.
Yeah. As you can see, once the 5 heroes of Geek Fam show, all of a sudden it's dangerous. And this actually is a tough death for Nangrata because it was so long into the fight. Now you got a lot of time for Geek Fam with the waves pushing to perhaps get into the tier 3s.
And it slowed down his Radiance by quite a bit. Now we have the level 20 on the Phantom Lancer, so good luck getting away from this.
This is the key time for Spirit. They need to buy some space to get the Radiance, to get the Ags up, so you can at least deal with these illusions. But you're going to have an Abyssal up on Raven quite soon. He's already got the Manta Basher, about to finish an Abyssal Blade.
It's crazy how he doesn't have to go hard in this game, because he looks at it and he's just like, they don't have an answer to me. Unless it's 1v5, I'm really not going to be dying.
Abyssal's really nice here too, because you get a little bit of an initiation, charge forwards, you get a follow-up bash onto a Morph or a Wyvern, you're going to be able to 100-0 them, no problem.
Yeah.
Spirit need to utilize their big ultimates to capitalize, find fights plus objectives. You've got GA, Wyvern ulti, you need to use these to combo break and get a turnaround. If you're Geek Fam, you kind of just have to poke and prod, get some of these big ults burnt, and then you can fully commit.
Well, this is going to be a long, hard hold for Team Spirit, it seems, but they do have the level 20 on Morph, so he's got the attack on Waveform, which will help him deal with the illusions a little bit.
Just slowly getting out farmed. Geek Fam, I think, playing this right. They're just maintaining a presence in the enemy jungle as 5. Choking out 2 waves. This is a simple, if you're ever playing pro matches with your friends, you're trying to get better, it's a very easy way. When you have a lead, the simplest thing to do is sit as 5 at the enemy woods, camp mid, camp the off lane, and just eventually wait for the opportunity to strike.
Hey, because there's something in the middle of the map that will give you an opportunity if you just keep controlling it at Roshan, right? Roshan's going to spawn. We keep on getting these upgrades to Roshan. You know, first it was the cheese being added in. Then it was going to be the refresher shard. Now we even have that Aghanim Scepter. It's your advantage to just control the map. You eventually will get so strong. You'll be able to just bully down at least one lane of barracks. Plus level 25 would be a nice pickup for the Phantom Lancer as well, since they already have enough problems on the side of Team Spirit in dealing with illusions. If they can get that doppelganger time, be pretty sweet.
And we'll have the Ags shortly. You can see on our stat, very fast BKB on the Morphling.
Not necessarily a good thing,
exactly.
Right? It's his itemization choice of he was rushing that BKB, therefore he got it faster than the average time, but it now means that he's going to fall off.
I'm always a fan, and part of why Strength Heroes are so good in this patch is because they can buy items that increase both their durability and their acceleration. Magnus is a perfect example. Echo Saber fits right into your kit. It's exactly what you need. Harder hitting, mana regen, and HP. So you continue to buy these items like AC, like BKB, that not just increase your offensive power, but also make it very difficult for the enemy side to target you. And that's something I wanted to see more out of from Spirit, instead going for more. They just had too many holes in the draft, right? Because they needed these blinks to try and find initiation tools. Unfortunately, Geek Fam, there's too many answers, and now they're in some trouble. There's the Ags on Tiny.
They've got the Ags. They've got a repair kit as well to be able to hold high ground a little bit better. They have the Scotty on the Morphling, so they may be behind. Oh, Misha is going to immediately jumped on by the Abyssal Blade. Winter's Curse goes out, but it was on illusion. Good try, but they need something better there. Zephyr does manage to steal the GA, protecting himself for a little bit longer. RP coming out, controlling ILTW. They have the Golden Brace, but it's not on ILTW, and he's actually going to die. Just too much damage from both Raven as well as Carl, and now they look to be able to chase down these heroes. Ergon blink up into Spider Legs over the cliff, pretty easy. And they don't really have to chase down these heroes if they don't want to. They can just go for buildings because Team Spirit have no buybacks. Again, they just got their power spike by purchasing all these items.
Just go for Throne. Yep, I love it.
Throne.
Win the game.
Well, they're going to throw out their repair kits, and that's going to be 2 tier 4s, multi-shotting all over the place.
Or maybe not. You force the kits, though. You'll take those. There'll at least be 2 racks.
You could still maybe go for 2 racks or maybe megas. The repair kit thrown out there. Of course, it did mean that Emergent had to get too close. Gets caught, but hey, at least things are slowing down quite a bit. 30 seconds for the Morphling, so he'll definitely be up in time for that 3rd hold. of the barracks.
Radiant's bottom tower
But 24,000 net worth in the hole, plus 2 lanes of barracks down.
are under attack.
Certainly not a fun place for Geek Fam to be.
Yeah, the lead jumped from 10 to 15, now 25K. Geek Fam, huge lead, now 2 racks.
Radiant's bottom
All you got to do now is regroup, regen, probably just look to continue. You almost have a butterfly up on the PL along with that Aegis.
All right, how does Team Spirit hold this? They got caught off guard last time. This time they're going to have a structured team fight. What do you do?
You gotta, I don't know, you don't have enough damage anymore, Cap. You can't kill all of the cores unless they, I don't even know. You don't have enough AoE to kill them all at once either. You need some kind of miracle.
It feels like one of those things where Immersion the entire time has to get the perfect winner's curse. He has to hit Raven with all of his illusions, hitting himself, and maybe grab somebody like Carl to do some damage for him too. But look at that, Geek Fam just staying very spread. Carl on one side, Raven on the other. They know as long as they're not grouped up, it is very tough for Team Spirit to find that initiation. Misha, he's going to be a little bit far forward. They do have the Aegis on the Phantom Lancer. That's why he's willing to just dive like this. ILTW goes for the back line, saved by Cuckoo, that quickening charm. Multiple mist coils and an Aphotic Shield is enough. Their support on the side of Team Spirit does die. Winter's Curse out on the real Raven. That's doing a lot of damage, but again, he has a second life, plus he has Doppelganger, so he's going to be able to get away with the first life still intact. Carl, his BKB is running a little bit low, can't find a good RP, so he's going to have to back up. ILTW as the Phantom Lancer tries to challenge, but Dubu with the freezing field doing so much damage out the RP and locking down the 2 of them. The Cold Embrace is out. This time it is on ILTW. It will save him for a little bit longer, enough for him to be able to get out double Doppelganger, trying to run out Zephyr into the back line once again, but Raven's doing the same thing, and he's doing it better than ILTW, as he's going to be able to finish off both the supports and get Megas for them, plus the Abyssal Blade now into ILTW, burning them out of mana. They're going to throw out the Guardian's Angel, yes, but there's going to be silence. Eventually the GA will fade, and ILTW will start taking tons and tons of physical damage, and nobody from Team Spirit can really bail him out unless Urgon can somehow do an amazing amount of damage. He slows him down a bit with the Avalanche, but again, you can just see nothing really stops Geek Fam. Maybe you can slow him down for a moment, but in the end, this is a freight train running through game 1.
It's the new Dota 2 Cap almost always turns these team fights into a war of attrition. If you don't have the ability to replenish your resources, aka your DPS output, you will simply run out of it, as we saw there.